Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to discuss the SCHD Q3 dividend that was just announced. We're going to go over that and crunch some numbers and do some comparisons over the last quarter and over the last year and just see how that dividend is tracking. I'll also show you what shares I own of SCHD, and we'll calculate that new dividend that I'm going to be receiving. So if you're new to this channel, welcome to this channel. I'm Average Joe, and most of my videos consist of me just showing the dividends for my dividend portfolio. I also go over my net worth and things like that, and I'll talk about some personal finance things as well. So the only thing I ask of you guys to do is just please click the like button to help support the channel. Let me know you like the content. And I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. I have no courses, no merchandise, no buy me a coffee, none of that junk. Just want you guys to learn and invest in yourself. And I'm just trying to chronicle my journey to financial independence on this channel. So the screen I'm at right now, this is just Schwab's page for SCHD. We can see, of course, all of the relevant information like the total expense ratio. It is quite low for an ETF at 0.06%, so that's a good thing. The only real knock on SCHD is going to be it's probably going to lag the S&P 500 as far as performance, and that's because of what it consists of. There's not a lot of high growth within this ETF, and we can look at what's in the portfolio, and it'll kind of tell you things like AbbVie, Home Depot, Amgen, Cisco. They're not going to light the world on fire as far as growth, but what they do have going for them is a decent dividend and decent dividend growth. And my philosophy or my strategy is I want to live off of the dividends and interest from my investments. I don't want to have to sell shares. So if you have that same strategy, SCHD might be a good idea. So here's the distributions, and this is it was actually announced last night, and I'm doing this video this morning. So it's good news for me because to remain status quo, I think I had to have at least a 0.2515. So what we're going to do next is we're going to show the numbers of the last distribution here, and we're going to compare those, and I'm going to go to my Google Docs spreadsheet where SCHD is a part of this portfolio, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but here's the line where SCHD resides in my portfolio, and here's the number of shares that I have. And just to prove it to you, and a lot of people will say I have X number of shares, I'm over at my M1 Finance, and we'll go to ETFs here, SCHD, and there's those number of shares, the 3860. We're going to come back to M1 in a little while because there's going to be another event that happened, and it's BlackRock paid me a dividend. And then what's going to happen actually probably the next 15-20 minutes is there's going to be a buy. This hasn't occurred yet. It's about 8:45 my time, and the trades usually go through about 9 o'clock for M1. So this will be dripping back into BlackRock. But back to this sheet, I'm just kind of using this as kind of scratch paper to show you the current 12-month rolling average, and it's the average of these months right here. That the dot 25625. That's the current rolling average for before the Q3 announcement, and we'll see that dot 25625. We'll see that right here, dot 25625. We're going to change that with the new rolling average, which is right here. We're going to see it's going to go up just a little bit because here's the increase from the last 12-month rolling average. And the reason I'm using a 12-month rolling average, and it was a viewer who suggested it, is because there's a lot of ups and downs in the distributions. And of course, this is going to be 3 times higher because they did a 3-2-1 split, but the dividend is not consistent. and there was a huge dividend that was paid out right here, the 82 cents, but divide that by 3 to actually get the real number. But it was a higher distribution in June 24, so it made it look really high right here, and then it dropped on Q3, so it made it look like my dividends were all over the place. So I'm using the 12-month rolling average just to keep it kind of more of a linear path to show that. But the increase, though, from Q3 2024, so comparing this to this, we've gone up 3.42%. So it's been modest for SCHD, but SCHD has been struggling, though, and it's because of like healthcare and things like that. Lockheed is struggling for a while. So the top investments in here have been struggling or been kind of flat. So that's, of course, made SCHD flat. And the market is cyclical, and especially with sectors. So that doesn't bother me at all. I'm going to keep on investing into SCHD regardless of that. I'm going to keep going back here to keep this refreshed so I don't have to log back in. So I apologize for that. We're going to grab some data to update BlackRock in a little while. But what we need to do now, though, is put that new 12-month rolling average in there. But it's going to change my cash flow average for the portfolio. We're also going to see the next dividend roll in. It's going to be a little bit different. We're going to calculate that next to dividend. I should have done pay special values only, so I apologize there. So we're going to see the number change right here, but it's not going to be the actual dividend. Let's just do a quick calculation on the Q3 2025 dividend. What it's going to be, of course, it's going to be equals the actual dividend, which is 0.2604, and then we're going to do it times the number of shares. I have a good multiplier here of shares of 3,860 times that. We're going to make this into dollar format. So this will be my dividend I'm going to receive at the end of this month. Over $1,000. I mean, that is awesome. Awesome to see that. That will be a new all-time high dividend for SCHD for me. And of course, I'll do a video to show the dividends received. I like to show the proof of it and not just show spreadsheets. I'll go into the activity log of M1 and show you the proof. But I think that the highest dividend I've received so far from SCHD is $9.91. So this will be a record-breaking dividend for SCHD for me. And you can see the history of this as well. I'll leave a link below so you can see this sheet and take a look at it. Historicals, if you want to take a look at SCHD or whatever, even a Pepsi, whatever it is, you can see everything that's in my portfolio in here, and you can see the dividends I'm expecting from each of these. So BlackRock, again, we're going to have that buy come through. Hopefully it occurs during the filming of this. But what we want to do is we want to update the sheet to reflect the new dividend with a 12-month rolling average. And again, the reason I do this is to keep it more linear, and it's going to increase the cash flow average by just a modest amount, by 0.87% for SCHD. So we'll see the effect of that. I'm going to put in that dividend, even though it's not going to be that. Change that to new rolling average. We'll see it change right here. That 989 is going to go up. It's 997, so it's pretty close. The rolling average is pretty close to the actual dividend that's going to be paying out, and I like that. So that was the old, new, but we're using this number to track my monthly, quarterly, and annual dividends. And so we can see the cash flow average is now going up from 1103.41 for monthly to 1106.28. Look at the quarterly has moved from 33.10.24 to 33.18.83. And then the annual dividends have moved from 13,240.95 to now 13,275.31. So we're going to update now the sheet with that new monthly cash flow average. So this is like a monthly paycheck or quarterly and annual. 1106.28. We'll put that here. And of course, the event was the SCHD dividend for Q3. It increased my monthly income by $2.87. That was not because of a deposit. So this was a dividend increase. We can see, like Microsoft, they announced recently a 10% dividend increase. It happened before 9/23, but that's when I found it. And then you can see like the result of that was a 21-cent increase. Here's the deposit I did on Monday, $250. That added 61 cents. So you can see all of these events just keep adding to my monthly income. We'll look at so far what we've done in September. So I've added $9.62 of monthly income from just this portfolio alone. And we're not done yet. We haven't had all the dividends roll in. We have all these dividends set to roll in. Of course, SCHD being one of those. So approximately $1,600 plus is going to be rolling in from the 26th to the end of the month, that's exciting. And of course, those dividends will be reinvested into the portfolio, just increasing this. So you can see how the snowball works with this. And the big three events that kick up those dividends are, of course, going to be deposits, drips, and then dividend increases that are announced. Those are the big three that move the needle. So let's go back to M1 and we'll see ActiveLog and see if that buy has occurred. It has not happened. So what I'll do is I'll pause it here and I will come back and I'll show you the result of that BlackRock dividend drip. All right, it looks like the buy went through. There's the BlackRock dividend. Here's the one buy of BlackRock right there. And so $11, that bought a whole 0.00978 of a fractional share of BlackRock. We'll see what this does to the next dividend. I'm going to grab some data though from the holdings tab because I have to update the number of shares, the average share price, and the cost basis for BlackRock. So I do is I just grab this data here, copy it. Even though it's grabbing all the data for the stocks, I really technically have to only grab the information for BlackRock, but it's just as easy to grab all of it. I do a paste special values only in my M1 data tab. You guys have seen many times. So here is the effect of that dividend drip. So the dividend that was paid is $11.11. The next dividend will be $11.16. We can see I have another dividend due in 2 days. So on Friday, I'll receive Qualcomm. Then Saturday morning, I'll wake up to Lockheed Martin and also Waste Management. And then these two will be applied on Monday morning. Those dividend drips will be applied. So we'll see all these dividends go up for the next ones. Then look at on the 30th, all these dividends rolling in. Just a huge amount of dividends on the 30th. Actually, it'll be October 1st because M1 has a 1-day delay. So we're going to take the new monthly cash flow average, 1106.29. We'll see if that changed it over here. It did. 1106.29. A whole penny in difference, but you can see there are some small things, but they all add up though, and some of them are larger, of course, with the SCHD one being quite large, but they all add up. You can see how my monthly average dividend, how it is tracked over time. And again, I'll leave a link below this sheet so you can see the historicals on this sheet and see how this dividend portfolio has grown over time. You can see what it consists of. And I'm a buy and hold investor. I'm going to get rid of this real quick. But one thing I want to show you, the one last thing I want to show you guys on this is the my IRA. I have an Average Joe Dividends IRA, which is represented over here on this tab. We'll go over here, right here, with the VU, VTI, SCHD, and BSD. So you can see I own an additional 5,791 shares over here, and I'll show you the proof. of that. Again, I don't like people who just read from the spreadsheet, and to me that doesn't really show, proof of ownership. And oops, I clicked in the wrong thing. Looks like I'm on BST instead of SCHD. There we go. SCHD. Again, this is in my IRA. And there's those shares right there. The proof, 57.91 right there. I'm going to show you what that dividend is going to look like. So what we can do is we'll go back to Schwab here in the actual distribution, which will be this. So we'll just do some quick math so I can show you what that dividend is going to be in my IRA. And of course that'll be dripped back into the portfolio. So we got that dividend, the quarterly dividend right there, times the number of shares. Get a crazy number right there. We'll put that into dollar format. So right there, over 1,508. That's not right. That's $1 million. Let's go back and do that. Looks like got something wrong on the math there. So 0.2604. Try that again. I wish. 0.2604 times there we go. It's not sure what happened there. So $1,508.10. That will be the actual dividend. And again, that will be the way I have it set up in the IRA is, we'll see if I can find it real quick. Go to portfolio, and then we'll see how I have it set up for dividend handling is cash with auto invest. So where that's going to go is into the underweighted portion of the portfolio. So it looks like right here, yeah, it's going to go right back into SCHD because we are underweighted. What I could do, I don't know if I'll do it, I could change the target to 20% for SCHD and have it go elsewhere. We'll see. Otherwise, that whole 1,500 is going to go right into SCHD. So we'll see what I do and what I decide there. I think this would be, IRA is a good place for having dividends go into. So wouldn't mind growing this dividend, portion of SCHD. But I have good growth in here, and I also have, this is a covered call strategy with BST to earn income. So this is these two are definitely income, and this is growth. But they all pay a dividend though. Low dividends with VU VTI, medium dividend with the SCHD, and a higher dividend with BST. So that's all I had to show you guys for this video, just to really discuss, the SCHD dividend that was announced. Let me know in the comments below if you guys own SCHD. I'm guessing that you do, and also let me know what you think about this dividend. Was a surprise? Do you think it was a higher than expected, lower than expected? Just let me know in the comments below. So thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I know it was a little bit choppy. I apologize for that. I wanted to show that BlackRock dividend drip because I know you guys are interested in kind of the moves that are happening within the portfolio. But again, please click the like button if you got value from the video. Please also subscribe so you do not miss future videos. I'll of course be going over all of my dividends. I'll show you the proof of the dividends I've received from this portfolio, and maybe I'll go into the IRA as well because we're only receiving dividends from VU, VTI, SCHD, and BST. I'm not sure if VU and VTI have announced their dividends. If they haven't, it'll be soon, but I'll show you those dividends as well. You can see this portfolio, just the dividends that I've earned so far, almost $80,000. You can see, if you're curious about this IRA, this is like my prior employment, pretty much from 1996 until 2019, and that was the value I just kind of plunked in there, and because it was in different 401ks, and I decided, okay, I'm going to consolidate it, put it over here. And you can see it was doing quite well. COVID happened. Not a good feeling. You can see it's kind of a blip on the radar though, but it was not a good feeling to see it go down to 319 when I put in about 382-ish right there. But look at what it's done though after that. It's gone crazy. in the 700s, but then the tariff talks, I was back in the fives. So you have to expect this kind of roller coaster action here. But look where it's at right now. It's 782, which is pretty crazy. And I also have IRA over at Vanguard as well. So technically it makes me a 401k. There's the total of like my IRA 401ks right there, 401k millionaire there. But I suggest though you have after tax as well, and if you're eligible, invest in a Roth as well. I think for me it's kind of late. I started a Roth and started doing that, but I just did the traditional route more, as you can see over here. With this, did a little bit of Roth. But I thought about putting money into a Roth, but I want to build my after tax foundation more because I want to retire